Welcome to the Clear Shots Podcast with Seth Skinner and Jake Jones.
Hey guys, it's Seth from Clear Shots, and today you're listening to episode 60 with other Jake.
Don't give him clear shots! Don't give him clear shots! Don't give him clear shots! Don't give him clear shots!
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Clear shots.
Yeah.
Clear shot.
It's going to be funny. Like, it's going to say that Jake is the guest.
This is Jake, and
It is.
he's also Jake.
Yeah. So, Jake.
This is
wanted
actually
Jake too.
like pretty crazy that you've made it to 60 episodes,
Yeah.
and this is the first time I've been on it.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, and we've also not talked about anything of value for 60 episodes.
No, that's the best part. It's like,
No one's learned anything.
no, they don't have to.
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm here, is
Yeah.
because by the end of this episode, I will have converted both of you into full leftists,
Mhm.
and then you'll actually be saying something of
I
value.
can't see that happening. Not to him. Like,
Not to him, no. I mean,
he's too far gone.
nah. He's long gone. Just throw him in the trash. Get a whole new Jake.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw the whole man out.
Yeah. You got to just start over, recycle.
Yeah. Can you imagine if that was like a thing that I mean, it kind of is, but like if that was like a thing that we did where like you reach like a certain threshold of shittiness, and then there's just a landfill where all those guys go. Like
Just
this,
recycle
just,
them. Yeah. That's actually a move, probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds like
feel
sounds like Soylent Green
Yeah, kind of.
or Logan's Run. It sounds like the theme.
The
to-
Maze Runner.
Yeah, Maze Runner. I actually never saw Maze Runner, so I
I
can't really
heard that
agree to
they,
that with any like substantial.
I'm pretty sure
credence.
they.
I don't know what the Maze Runner is either.
I'm pretty sure they just run through mazes, right?
That's pretty much the
Like it's
theme.
like a.
The
For
Hunger
whatever
Games.
reason, I hear Maze Runner and I immediately think like giant praying mantis. Like there's no, I don't think that's an actual thing in the movie, but that's like the first thing I think. I'm
How?
like, why do I think that? Because
I
like
don't understand that at all.
like there's not even like a Greek equivalent to that, which like in like modern films there's always some sort of like Greek equivalent, like, oh, this guy's clearly Theseus, or
Right,
like this
yeah.
guy's clearly the giant minotaur,
Or the
I think
giant
giant
mantis.
praying mantis, and I'm like,
Well, I mean, praying mantids is plural, right? It's not
mantid. I think mantid
Mantid.
is like the family name.
Yeah. Praying
Manti?
mantises are sweet.
They are pretty cool.
They're pretty awesome.
Do they-
You never hear about them either. Like, they're
Do
such
they
a
actually
low-key-
pray, or do they just look like they're praying?
They just look like they're
they do.
praying.
They are.
How do you
like,
know?
the scariest bugs, though? Like, if all bugs were scaled to the same size, I think mantids would take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they kill birds and shit. Like, the ones that are, like, the size of the jewel will, like, eat a sparrow.
Yep.
They're
They'll
fucking-
fuck up anything.
Yeah.
They'll fuck up anything.
They're
You
like,
can't even trust them around your finger, honestly.
No,
They'll
you can't.
recognize you're significantly larger than them, and they'll be like, I'll fuck this guy up.
Yeah.
Like, I will ruin this man.
You got some shit coming to you, bro.
Like,
They're like mantis shrimp, but on land.
yeah. That's why they're called mantis shrimp, though.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
How do we know, though? Maybe they have a god. and
See,
it's
now
the
people
only
have
real
learned
god.
something.
Maybe the praying mantis god is the real god, and we
They're
just don't know
praying
about
to
it.
the praying
Yeah.
mantis god.
Yeah, it's
Is
like
he
a
also
natural-
praying? Is he praying to something else? Is it mantises all the way up?
Yeah, all the way to the top. It's
It's
mantises.
mantids all the way up and turtles
Until they
all
get
the way
to the
down.
non-praying mantis.
Just the regular,
praying,
the
acknowledging
lounging mantis.
The lounging mantis.
He's an atheist mantis.
It's weird because what if that was the case? And it's just they're the only ones that know because they have a connection with nature that we don't have.
Atheist mantis.
Which would explain why they're so fucking brutal. Like, even to their own kind.
Yeah,
Well, they got
female
it all
praying
figured out.
mantises.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
got it figured out. Their God is telling them what to do. you
Yeah.
know? That's
eat
the
his
problem.
head.
We don't
Like-
have connection with our gods directly.
Well, because I don't
And
think
You got to be able to phone them up.
Yeah.
Like they don't give us their iPhone number and shit.
And they're perfect feminists, honestly. Like, oh, you got a nut? Cool. And they'll just bite their head off,
And God definitely has an iPhone, right? So
Sure. What is...
an iPhone 10, right?
What?
no. Why would God have an iPhone?
Because
Oh, he's got,
supposed
the next iPhone. Like,
Right.
Apple
He always
says.
has the
one.
next one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why he gave Steve Jobs pancreatic cancer, so he could get the iPhones before we did.
Yeah. There's a lot of people that just have to have the newest one, though.
Yeah.
You're gonna
It's
be
so
like, there's just a
ridiculous.
lot of people that have to have cancer.
No, they don't.
True.
Well, I mean, maybe.
It's pretty crazy the way, we're going to talk about cancer for a second. It's pretty crazy that when our parents were children, or our age, that, cancer was nope, you're done no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden it's most forms of cancer
They were scared of
Yeah.
the
are
HIV.
manageable.
If you're rich...
Yeah, it's
I mean,
true.
if you have a lot of money, then if you get cancer, it's no big deal. If I got cancer right now, my family would be done. We would just
that's
dissolve.
GG.
Yeah.
The thing is, cancer basically costs a bunch of money. It just basically wants to make money. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Like, cancer is just a money machine.
Oh my god, it's like a government conspiracy. They just plant tumor cells.
I
in you.
mean, that is kind of a conspiracy, right?
I mean,
we have a cure for cancer and it doesn't get released.
I feel I
makes
feel
a
like
lot of
it's
sense.
probably there's profit in it, but I feel like cancer itself was probably something that developed from our industrial habits,
Right,
from
yeah.
all the shit we put into the air and the water.
100%, yeah.
I don't think anyone in government was just yo, I bet if we put a bunch of poison around, that people will pick it up and eat it and it'll be fine, and we can make a bunch of money. I think it was just oh, this is a really good opportunity for us to make money in the medical industry.
Well,
See,
it
that's what I've
definitely
read
has
that-
a lot to do with fucking phone signals and shit. That shit all came out and around the same time where cancer was rising
Yeah.
fast. And if you think about it, that's definitely a huge fucking part of it. It's
I
you got a phone
wasn't,
signal around you all the time. Your balls are really getting fired up. You know, they
Wasn't
get jammed up with cancer signals.
I was gonna say, HIV was created in a lab.
Oh,
I've
guaranteed.
read at this point I've seen and read more things that claim that than claim otherwise.
Mhm. Guaranteed.
How
And-
I think certain wasn't there a CIA member or FBI member that came out and was we
we did
we
it.
didn't-
What
we
of
didn't-
it?
We didn't make HIV, but
What are you gonna do about it?
We
It's-
purposefully.
I don't know enough about that subject.
Maybe I'm
for
thinking
me
of
to
crack.
allow-
I think I'm thinking of crack cocaine.
I couldn't
as well.
Probably. I
They're
couldn't
basically
say.
the same.
Well, I mean, the government, the CIA, was directly responsible for cocaine entering the United States and toppling all of the communist regimes down in South America. That was us. That's hard fucking science, proven. But I don't know enough about HIV to immortalize myself saying yes, the government created.
Oh well, you could
HIV.
always just say,
I couldn't,
if you're wrong, you can always just be oh hey, yeah, this thing I said, I was wrong, my bad.
Okay.
That's what I do it all the I do it all the time.
You can't.
I do it all the time.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
Not anymore.
Yeah. Oh no, you can't. No.
Because
You can
Twitter's
apologize.
they're oh, I found this tweet from 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said it, so you were actually
Okay.
100%.
Okay,
accurate.
here's what I think about that though. Is I feel the way social justice has been working on social media, I think that's just a really strong almost immune response to us letting it go for such a long fucking time. I don't think it's I don't think this is the way it's always going to be. I think it's going to be okay, I'm really sorry for this shit that I said.
I
And
think people need to learn. Yeah. Well, I think what it is we need to provide some sort of avenue for redemption, and there isn't. One.
I agree with that.
There's
yeah.
no once you, especially
Unless you're rich.
even people that come. Yeah. Well, I guess. Well, even then though, it's you got that Jussie Smollett thing or whatever,
Yeah.
and he got off basically.
Completely.
And which I mean is totally fucked up, but it's he's still gonna have that stigma. He ain't getting hired anywhere probably, you know. But it's like
when someone he'll be too hot for a while.
Yeah. Well, I would imagine for a long time. Even like Louis C.K., it's like he's in this spot where like a lot of people don't want to hire him, but he didn't do anything nearly as bad as him. You know.
I don't know.
It's like, so he jerked off. Like, okay. But, like, we have to provide an avenue where he can redeem himself. Yeah. Like, even the people who go to jail and they come back and then they're trying to enter society and they don't have a chance to.
The prison system is fucked.
Yeah. It's fucking money, dude.
It is. It really is.
Mandatory minimum sentences.
It's actually slavery.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think
you're gonna find out that I'm not as right leaning as you think.
I know.
Like, I mostly just do it to get.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Like, I think that like sort of feeds into like what we're talking about now. Is like before you were like openly like, yeah, we should run America like a business. That's why you should vote for Trump. And like, I think that's bullshit. But like, you have been like turning that around. You know, you've been. I can tell that you've been thinking a lot more about the things that you say openly and being like, okay, I can't like say this shit. I don't actually believe it. You know,
that's the biggest problem is that there's so many voices and most people don't actually think about what they're saying. They just go, oh, like I'm kind of on this team, so like that's an established viewpoint. So now it's my viewpoint. They don't go like critical think about something and then go, oh, this is what I actually think about it.
To dial back a little bit on like the subject of like Louis C.K. The difference, I think, between that and someone who says something fucked up on Twitter is Louis C.K. was, like, manipulating his power structure. Like, all the women that he assaulted, I would say that, like, jerking off in front of a woman when she doesn't consent to that, I would consider that assault.
I thought he asked for permission, though.
I think he did, but I think he did it anyway.
Yeah. He asked for permission and they said no and then he did it anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
And like,
but he's Louis C.K. It's like, have you ever seen Louis? It's like
I know
they know what they're getting into. I think.
I don't know. I think knowing what you're getting into and trusting somebody are
that's
two
true.
Different things.
No, I mean, there's definitely no like justifying what he did.
And if you think about it, like these are like women who like in one sense or another probably ostensibly needed his help, and he took advantage of like that position that he was over them, and he was like, I'm gonna get off at the expense of these women.
Yeah.
You don't want to get off with me?
Yeah.
You don't want to get off?
You guys want to get off. Yeah. I mean,
I think another big problem, and I'm not condoning what he did either. I think another big problem is that happened like right around the same time as like the Harvey Weinstein, Bill Cosby stuff.
Yes.
And he's significantly more pathetic than Harvey Weinstein. I think that's why he gets a lot of like people to be like, yeah, you know, this is just who Louis is.
But the problem is, it wasn't to the degree that they were doing it, and it got lumped into that same category, and so he gets like the same punishment.
What he did was pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Definitely not as fucked up as Cosby or Weinstein, but still bad. You know,
I mean, I think it's more like we're at a stage in I think we're in like a sort of a new paradigm and a new plateau of like civil rights, and I think right now that like men who do fucked up shit like that, like they do need to be made an example of publicly.
Women too.
Sure.
It's unfortunate that a talent like Louis C.K. was involved in that sort of shit in the first place, but I think that there are plenty of funny people out there. I don't think it was that huge of a loss to lose Louis.
The problem is that we don't need to lose him, though. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think there's got to be, like I said, there's got to be like an amount of time that he has, and there has to be something that he also hasn't really come out and like apologized, you know. But that's also his style too. He's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna go up on stage and do.
Well, his whole thing was basically
he shouldn't be able to not work again. Basically, is what I'm saying.
I mean, like he can work as like a writer or whatever. I don't think that he belongs in the public spotlight.
As far as I'm concerned, though, it's like the people who want to see him are going to go see him. The people who don't want to don't have to go see him.
Yeah. So I don't see why it's a big deal. Like if he went out, if he was like, all right, I'm going to do a tour, and nobody went to go see him, then obviously, you know,
well, that's
get rid of him.
But that's like letting the market speak.
Decide.
But
you let the market.
But
decide.
also, like, you're also replatforming someone who is a known sex offender.
I forget.
You know, like it's kind of.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a pretty straight shot to like more a clear shot, if you will, to like a moral wrong there.
I think another thing too that just kind of bugs me about this, not this conversation, but this idea, is that it's almost like people pick and choose who they want to be upset with.
Definitely.
And if they're gonna be like, okay, like you said, you're giving a comedic platform to a known sex offender, then let's just go all the way back and find out every single celebrities and every single artist fucked up shit, and then it's just straight across the board. Like, let's stop listening to the Beatles. Let's never look at...
I mean, definitely stop listening to the Beatles.
Yeah,
like, for sure.
Let's stop talking
John
about
Lennon
every
was
single...
abusive. He was a giant sack of shit. Like, definitely stop listening to the Beatles.
The problem is
90% of the
a lot
hip-hop
of them.
community,
A lot of them were though. Like
Yep.
a lot of artists back then. The thing is, like, you didn't see it as much,
Like
and
Bowie.
the way.
Bowie?
The way things were established was totally different too. So it's like there also wasn't social media where everybody could just tweet about it.
Yeah. And it's tough to say, like, separate the artist from the work.
Well, yeah,
Because
everybody's talking about Michael Jackson and shit again.
You're
And
supposed
that's
to,
another
like-
thing. It's like it seems like people just want like something to talk about. So there's a person that's in the news, like as the big headline, and that's what you saw with Michael Jackson because the documentary came out. It's like, well, that came, all of a sudden
knew about
he's
this
back in fucking
like a dozen years ago.
yeah, like all of a sudden we're talking about him again because that's the only thing to talk about. Like that's the big story.
Yeah.
I would never wear a Michael Jackson t-shirt.
I would
never
wear
like,
one leather glove.
Yeah.
a single leather. You won't tell anyone where you got the idea, though.
But it doesn't have to be. Yeah, like they don't
feel-
have to know that it's a Michael Jackson thing.
I feel I feel like on the one hand, like the artist itself is like a supernumerative. Like it's like something that you can say like this person was horrible, and I think you should. I think that feeling like shit for having enjoyed their art, I think, is unfair to you.
Yeah.
Like I think that like you definitely should re-examine like the type of person. Like I think it's just something that like you can examine like the type of people that you normally like idolize and be like, I need to know this person before I can trust
It's
their work.
not like Michael Jackson's music was all about touching little boys.
No.
It could have been though, and
But
maybe
it
we're not
wasn't-
looking into it.
I mean,
deep
in
enough.
some ways, it might have been. Like, I mean, like Thriller, for example. Like, Thriller basically talks about him turning into a monster at night. Like, demonstrably about touching boys. Like, that's what it was about.
That's all I can think of.
Like, that's what he was thinking about.
But is it about what they were thinking about, or is it about what the music makes you feel?
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Like the craft, like art in general, is subjective. It's something designed to stimulate something in the viewer, not designed to be an expansion of a person's personality or all the horrible
And that's
things
why
that they do.
a lot of people, and I guess you would know this pretty well, is when you write a song, you don't necessarily you don't point it out obviously to the audience. You want them to interpret it,
Right.
so that they can sort of put those pieces into their own life.
Yeah, I mean that's how all great artists thrive. Which I think the fact that Bowie and Michael Jackson were so popular and were so they had a proclivity for these things that were like
Sexual,
awful, like sexually awful. Like the fact that they were these people and like we sort of bought into like their music. Like I think it's a good idea to re-examine who
thing is
we're
you
platforming.
the thing is you don't know that, so like what can you really do? Like if they're writing good music, they're writing good music, so you're gonna listen to it.
Well,
it's like even with the Zeppelin thing, like how they had like a bunch of shit that was
episode
ripped
1
off.
Throwback.
Yeah, well, did we talk about
talked
that, or
about-
did we just talk
familiar.
about Jimmy Page?
We did talk about Jimmy Page fucking a 14.
Did we
Oh,
talk
I-
about the
I
ripping
am.
off
But we
the
did talk
music?
about getting the ripping off the music. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like that's it's one of those things where I don't know, you get to a point where like should they still get credit for making it as good as it was? Because let's not deny how good they made that fucking music. And even if it was like, I don't know, it's like with music, it's tough because you can't really say like this was definitely stolen.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
I
like,
guess
there's only so many ideas, right? Musically, and musically things fit together in a certain way.
Yeah, like that Axis of Awesome song.
It's how music theory works.
Well,
like,
the thing about it is like you can only make music like so good, you know, like you can't.
You got something on your nose. It's been bothering me.
Do I?
Yeah.
glasses.
No, I can get it if you want.
Thank you.
It's like I
It's
don't know.
glasses.
It looks like it's. Oh wait,
I think it's built in.
there you go.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. Thank you. I didn't know what it was. I thought it was like a piece of dust, but it looked like just something.
It might have
black.
been a face mask.
Yeah, that's what it
Kat's
was.
super into skincare, and sometimes she experiments
Oh yeah.
on my face. So, and I love it. I love like being.
I like getting
anointed in
facial.
oils
He's like, I
and
like
shit.
getting. Yeah, I love facials.
Yeah, he loves. facials.
I love edging.
That's so funny.
He had to.
I had to fit it in.
I'm kind of about not talking about edge.
Yeah. I thought we were talking about Jimmy Page.
Yeah. Well, okay, so that's the
Same
thing.
thing.
That's the thing
Same thing.
about
Yeah.
like we've turned music into a product,
Yeah, it is.
and
We talked about
we
this with
can
Christian.
appreciate the quality of the product.
It's funny that you knew I was going to say that.
But yeah, no, I mean
you
you
gonna
can
say that?
appreciate
You
the
can still
quality
say
of
it.
the product, but the quality of the person is also pretty important, you know.
Yeah.
And as long as music is only valued as like the quality of a product, then this sort of shit is just going to keep happening.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
Christian was talking about how it's like they grab a person, shoot him to the moon, and then we find out something shitty about him, and
Yep.
then they disappear.
Well,
But it's because of the way that like all this shit is established now, like the digital platforms and shit.
and something could be said for like the people who grab these people and shoot them to the moon. They
Yeah.
probably know something's up with this person, and they're like, "You're gonna do what we say, or
Let's
everyone's
just-
gonna know this."
and use them now, like get it all out there. It's a very like those markets are very manipulative, but and one of the good things about the way the internet works now is that you can avoid those things. Like you can distribute things yourself, and there's a free platform out there.
Definitely. I mean, it's certainly becoming a more democratic platform.
Yeah, like
For
we
sure.
we don't have a producer. Like I am the producer basically.
Yeah.
Like we don't have anybody to answer to, so we can do whatever we want.
Except God.
Right.
That's true.
I mean, we can't
Big one.
like get
Big guy.
naked and stuff, but it's like, I mean, I guess we could if we hosted it on our own platform, like our own website. Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if I want to.
You just gotta stream on Twitch
Yeah, yeah.
in bikinis.
Twitch has to have a set of rules too, right? They have like you can't have. Wasn't there something about like guys can't be shirtless or some shit anymore? Like
Is
Yeah,
there?
but girls are allowed to just, wear fucking push-up
Yeah.
bras and
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
and do all that.
like
Yeah.
stickers over their nipples and
Yeah.
shit.
Twitch is so sketchy.
You gotta
Yeah, it
use
is.
what you got, man.
Right.
You know, I don't think there's
guess.
anything insidious about that.
Mhm.
I think it's just like people watch that. That's just a
That's
fact.
what it is. Yeah.
You know,
They know it's gonna get viewed.
and as long as the system exists where like you have to garner as many people as possible, like shit like
But
that's
then-
just gonna keep happening.
But then
you
you're
know?
letting the market decide. What
Exactly.
You can watch.
And exactly. That's the thing. Like if you like as long as the market can decide, it will decide.
Yeah.
Like as long as that system exists, we're gonna keep running into things that are like questionable.
Like
you
each
know.
side will be like, well, that's not fair. That's
Mm.
the thing is like instead of people trying to work together to like make it fair instead of compromising,
Mm-hmm.
people just want to talk about how the other side is stupid. Like I very rarely and this is another thing why I stopped going on Facebook as often.
things don't have to be fair either, right?
No,
Like,
things don't have to be fair. But at the same time, it's like you see people posting shit. Like I posted a thing about Cardi B the other day.
Okay. All right. I've been excited about talking about Cardi B with you guys for a really long time.
I put on you definitely saw
Years,
it.
in fact.
Years.
I put on there. I put Cardi B as an inspiration, and I put like the happy birthday frame. It was like balloons and shit. At like I put it on at like noon on like Wednesday or something, and I didn't get back on Facebook till like 7:00, and it had like fucking 6 or 7 comments, and like 1 or 2 people were like, "You're fucking stupid," basically. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, "Oh my god!" Like I can't even. It's gotten to the point now where people are so sensitive that like I feel like I would have to put in parentheses the next thing I say is like, this is purely sarcasm.
Yeah. Or
Please don't get upset.
S,
And then even if I do put that, they'll be like, you can't be sarcastic about that. I cannot believe you said that.
Okay. Here's the thing about Cardi B. She was in a position where she had to like struggle to survive. Like, a lot of people are going to be like, oh, she used her sex to, become famous and, like, reach, this level of wealth that she's at now, and we shouldn't, admire her for it. But also, like, there's a difference in the power dynamics between... I'm seeing a lot of, like, comparison between like her and Bill Cosby.
Yeah, that's like, a little bit of a reach.
They're basically the same guy.
Yep. It's like it's not
Cardi
like she
Bill.
it's not like she like drugged this guy and fucking took his $850 in Apple Watch to Atlantic Records and slammed it on the counter, and they were like, "You're fucking signed."
Maybe
like,
she should have, though. That would have been the move.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a different power dynamic here, like between her and these other famous people. And like, again, it's one of those things where as long as something like this can happen, like it's going to happen because people feel like that they have to use their bodies for money.
Yeah.
Do
Especially women.
you disagree with
that?
Using your body for money?
I
That's
think
something I don't
anything
think
to keep a roof over your head is probably fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
as
right.
long as
you're
that
not-
system exists.
Like
Yeah.
Instagram models.
Yeah, exactly. As long as that system exists, as long as we're inside of this system where you have to do anything to make money to survive, I think if there's no opportunities for you outside of that, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think that men who buy sex are questionable. But I think that women who sell sex are not doing it because they fucking are about it. Like,
Right.
So wait, what? So women can sell their bodies, but men can't buy the access?
I wouldn't
No.
say can't.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
he's
say
not saying
can't.
You
they
just don't
can't.
like the idea of it?
I don't like the idea, and I
think you should.
it says something about the person, you know.
It does. Yes, I think you should be able to do it. I don't think
it should be
illegal.
legalized for
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Like I don't think it should be like criminalized and like punished the way that it is.
Yes.
But
it's very odd that because it's on camera and they're getting paid for it,
Yeah.
now it's legal. But if you're
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's
on
not
camera,
it's not that cut and dry, but yeah,
it's still an odd concept. Like,
yeah.
and the fact that you can just, I mean, it's weird that you can just do it for free or pay somebody to. You can't pay somebody to do it. It's kind of an odd fucking thing.
Yeah.
But there's ways that it makes sense, but there's more ways that it doesn't. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, I think that that something also could be said about like the way. I mean, first of all, we reproduce by doing the most fucking fun thing that we can do.
Yeah.
Like, you
It's
know,
meant to be,
like
so
the
that-
most enjoyable thing that we can do. Like
Yeah.
is the means by which we reproduce other people.
Hardcore.
And
banging.
there's but
Yeah.
there's
Like
also
playing,
hardcore
playing
edging.
Destiny,
edging to completion.
playing
like-
playing Madden 2002.
You're damn
there's
right.
something there's something to be said about like the way that reproducing like changes your lifestyle and forces you to like change your paradigm.
Yeah.
And like if you get like a prostitute pregnant, like there's no way you're sticking around. Like
No.
but like
No, that's their problem.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going with this, but like it's just like
You gotta pay the toll.
yeah.
Yeah.
The troll toll.
That's
I think that's a pretty solid summary, honestly. Like paying the troll toll.
And that's I don't know. I feel like that gets into if you legalize prostitution, now you have to have legal abortions too, right? So it has
Probably.
to be always.
I mean,
you have to always be pro-choice.
Or like a significantly better means of like acquiring birth control and making it like, you know, something that is freely available to the public, which I think is something that should already happen. Like,
Right.
I mean, and if you have health insurance, like birth control is pretty much as good as free, but most people don't have health insurance. Like, if you're poor, you know, you either have state health insurance, which sucks dick, or you can elevate yourself out of poor to just a little bit poor. And if you make more than $30,000 a year, you don't get free health insurance.
Nope.
I have work health insurance, and they literally call it catastrophic health insurance because it will only cover if you are in a car
Horrible
accident.
shit.
Like if you are crushed by a forklift, or you crash into a fucking like a divider on the highway. That's pretty much like it. That's the only situation that the insurance. Other than that, it's like a $7,000 deductible that you have to pay up to before it'll like cover like doctors like appointments. And by then you've already got cancer. Like
And at that point, you might as well just pay for the doctor's appointments.
Exactly.
You're paying $7,000.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, but like the thing about it is like, I'll eat up a $7,000 deductible in one emergency room trip.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, I don't know.
Just don't go to the emergency room, dude.
Yeah.
Get Band-Aids. Just stock up on Band-Aids,
Yeah,
dude.
for real.
Gauze
Just
pads.
cover your body in Band-Aids.
Gauze pads.
Going
and
back to the
Scotch
Cardi
tape.
B thing, I just had one. You and I kind of agree on it so far. The thing, this is the other, because hypocrisy is a big thing with me.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
I'm kind of a hypocrite, but I'm allowed to cherry pick certain things that I know, that I'm well versed in, or at least that I've been paying attention to. The thing that kills me is the same people that idolize rappers that talk about and admit to like robbing people, killing people, shooting at people, selling drugs,
They
doing this and
glorify
this.
it, too.
They think it's the coolest shit, and then all of a sudden, Cardi B drugged and robbed people, and they're like, "She is actually Hitler, and we should never listen to her music again."
That's the thing. Is like
And then they're
Malcolm
like,
X.
Let's go listen
Malcolm
to Kanye.
X drugged and robbed people before he was Malcolm X.
Yeah.
So like that's fucking bullshit. Like
It's like this.
It's like you can talk about it. Just don't do
my
it.
big
Yeah.
thing is like if you're gonna be outraged, you have to be outraged at both sides.
Yeah.
Like you can't just pick and choose what you're pissed
Yeah.
about, in my opinion. Like if you're gonna be pissed at a guy or a girl or a person of color or whatever does a thing,
Yeah. Let's also be pissed about the fact that they're making that shit glorified in the first
yeah,
place.
that too. That's the thing that
Like
really
waving
gets me.
guns around and shit in their music
like
videos.
when Lil Peep died, people were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it." It's like, dude, he talked about like doing shots of tequila with Xanax in the cup and like smoking weed.
Yeah.
and
like,
everybody's like, yeah, that's wicked
that's
cool.
wicked cool. Oh,
but
he
that's
died
because that's
doing
what
that?
we do to numb ourselves. Like that's
Yeah,
why we're.
no.
It's literally just the theme song to our fucking like night out anyway. You
Yeah.
know?
That's
So
the thing
it's
it's like you can't sit there and be like, oh, I'm so shocked that this happened when you knew how dangerous and reckless their lifestyle was.
Mhm.
You know, that's the like my thing with Cardi B. Like it was fucked up, but like you said, she had like we don't know what kind of situation she was in.
Yeah. She absolutely
and
had to do
you
that.
can't sit there and glorify rappers like mostly male rappers doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And then get pissed because Cardi B did it. You can still be pissed that Cardi B did it, but you better also be annoyed at the other people in the industry that had that probably did the same thing. If
Yeah,
not
but
worse.
that's what you were saying. Is like they pick somebody and then
Yeah.
that's
And
the
that's like
target.
I think it has a lot to do with the fact that she is a woman of color. I think I don't think it has so much to do with the act itself. I think it's just people who don't examine their lives, just being like, well, I'm fucking pissed off because this, woman of color took advantage of men who were there to take advantage of her.
Like,
yeah.
Like
I feel like people aren't even that pissed at these things, though. It's like
They're just trying
want. Well, it's just that they have their fucking phone in their hands.
how many
24
blue
hours a
thumbs
day.
up can I get? You
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yes, and how many retweets and shit.
I got a bunch of ha-has, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's an inspiration to me
But
personally.
it's the problem is that we have
I do it, Like, if I was that
if you're
fine,
gonna sit,
like,
if you're like, this is the other thing is that people that I saw on Facebook recently bitching about it, I know have done way worse to way better people.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
Like-
we just our access is too easy to and you can't like numb that. You can't
No.
like
yeah.
suppress that in any way.
Charge per tweet.
That's the thing about Facebook is like they call it a service, but like the service is actually your information, and
Yeah.
you're not just the source of that information. You're also like
The
the
product.
laborer and the means of production for a product that they're selling to big companies that in turn advertise to you on that social media to fuck with your brain.
Yep.
Like,
Dude, I got my parents onto that when we were talking about how they have to go in their settings and disable their microphone for like their Twitter and Instagram and
Yeah.
Facebook and shit.
Yeah.
Because we were sitting there and they were talking. This is before I got the job at my dad's office.
Doesn't Instagram or Facebook own Instagram?
yes.
Yeah. My dad and my mom were talking about getting a nameplate for my desk. They were talking about it,
Uh-huh.
and like in the morning, and then that afternoon, my dad gets on his laptop, opens up Amazon. The first thing on there is custom nameplates for desks,
Yeah, dude.
and it's like he didn't Google it; he just talked about it in the morning. And that freaked him out. And I remember I sent him a bunch of like 2 or 3 articles and a video about it.
Yeah.
just about how they're always
If
listening.
there wasn't money involved, that'd be super convenient. But like they make money off
they're
of that
trying to
shit.
sell you
so
something.
like they're like,
Right.
and it's fucked up because you're already giving them freely like bits and pieces of your identity. Like at what point like will Facebook know enough about you to like replicate
They're trying.
you perfectly on a platform?
They're trying really
that's
hard.
completely separate
Every time
from you?
I don't get on Facebook that much
Yeah.
at all. But every time I get on there and you go to your profile, they're asking you like for just random
More
fucking
information,
questions. Like why do you need to know any of this shit?
I love the one that like I got one a while ago that freaked me
Like
out.
I bet if I go to my profile right now, I'll
You
have
definitely could. He showed me this. It does it to me every now and then, but with Seth, it's really sketchy. But I remember I
because
had
I don't
one.
have that much on here.
It was like a picture of me and one of my friends in like middle school, and it was just like, "What were you doing in this picture?"
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a description, and it's
Yeah.
like, why did you need to know?
Why you need to know that? Yeah.
Like-
Why do you like? You can look at it and
That was,
tell
like, 9 years
they're
ago.
looking for your. They're
Yeah.
looking to improve their algorithm. They're looking for information about you.
It's
And then
crazy,
Nike's gonna be like, "Yo,
man. Nike,
yeah, I don't know,
pussy slayers, dude.
pussy slayers." Yeah. I'm like, I still can't believe you guys were talking about that. The first episode, you slam it with a wicked solid joke. Like that's like a half-hour fucking joke you guys expounded on. Like that's
Yeah.
that's on the fucking highlight reel for sure. Episode 100 meta episode.
I can't find it now.
I think my favorite thing we talked about.
They must be lilistening to me, and they
Yeah.
They shut it
Yeah.
off.
Oh shit. Yeah, they don't even want you to prove a point. They're not even
they
gonna
don't.
let you prove a point about them. And like the thing is, like former CEOs of Facebook and former like chief technical officers have been like, dude, this is evil. We knew it was evil, and we're still doing it. Delete your fucking account.
Yeah.
Like a ton of people talk about why you should delete your Facebook. There's a bunch of social like alternative social media sites that you can get on, but it'll never be as massive as Facebook because it just like it doesn't sell you that
well,
way.
also it's like everyone's on Facebook, so it's like how
Dude.
else are you going to talk to people? Like I feel like most people don't have people's numbers anymore. They just use Facebook Messenger, and that's basically a form of text messaging.
Yeah, I was reading about that. You and I were probably. I feel like this is something you and I talked about. Was that like in Europe and other countries overseas, their SMS, like their text messaging service, is awful compared to like America, and I think Australia is the only other one with like decent like
well, a lot
cell
of just
coverage.
infrastructure in general.
And infrastructure. So they do use Facebook Messenger. Like
Yeah.
in Europe and Russia and stuff like that, Messenger
That's
is
not good.
all they use for communication. Messenger and what's the other one? WhatsApp?
WhatsApp, probably.
Yeah. Well, the money's probably not there the same way. Like, I mean, like I watched this thing where it was like they took the battery out of a phone and it wasn't even activated, and they took it around the block in New York City, and Google could tell where it went. Like they hooked a program up to it,
That's
and
fucking
like
freaky.
it showed the exact path
I
that
don't
they
like
took
that at
with a
all.
batteryless, unactivated, no service fucking phone.
So there must be a chip in there that they're always tracking
Yep.
at some point.
It's got to be like one of those, like those flashlights that when you shake them, they charge up.
Yeah,
Isn't that's what we were supposed to do with the pussy
exactly-
yeah.
slides.
They call them edge flashlights.
edge
It's
lights.
exactly like a flashlight.
No, you.
Oh,
you-
edge
see,
flashlights are just
No,
flashlights.
that's what you
though.
fucking do. I freaking expand a point I make, and you're like, yeah, it's exactly just like one word that you said. Like you're
It's got to come full circle, man.
no, like he's saying.
No,
that,
I know
but
what
you're
you-
saying
I know
your
what
phone-
saying, yeah,
like,
yeah.
with the chip always on.
Yes.
It doesn't need a battery.
Always on.
You
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah,
prick.
but are you trying to make a?
Oh no, I mean like you
Your point is that your phone charges up the chip. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No, I'm saying like when you walk, it charges it.
Yeah,
because
like-
it doesn't need that much fucking power. Probably it's just a
No, I
little
mean
chip.
something that small and something with that little like energy
I
requirement.
don't
Like
think
it's
I don't even know if it has to have much of an energy.
It could be
requirement
like
at all.
a
Yeah.
watch battery that just stays in there.
yeah,
That, or even smaller, like a doll's watch battery.
yeah. I'm pretty.
Does it need that though at all? Like
No.
there's like your fucking credit card doesn't need a battery.
Not
the
for
chip,
you.
right?
But I don't think you can
The chips-
track it where a credit card
Yeah,
is.
that's the thing about the
It-
chip too. Is like
It has to have a. It just needs a location service though. There has
like
to be.
why did we need the chip? Why is the RFID chip? Like that's not more.
That's
not
I
safer.
fucking
No.
hate that shit. dude.
Like-
the chips and the credit cards.
Like if you travel somewhere, like RFID scanners are fucking all the fuck over the place.
Yeah.
You go to China and some dude will be sitting in a fucking restaurant across from you with like a little like radar gun, like beep 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 beep, beep and like steal all your money. Like that's why they have RFID like like wallets that go on your fucking card.
So it doesn't get
like,
stolen.
yeah.
Yeah, they have those front pocket wallets now. So like
Yep.
they have like steel cases.
It's like why did we make like
And it's not
our
convenient
currency
for
less
anybody.
safe?
It's not convenient for anybody. The
Nope.
chips.
No.
How like chips are the new USB ports
Yeah.
where it never works the first time.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yeah.
there to collect more information about you.
Yeah.
Like Facebook probably has that information. They're
Yeah.
just like, yo, he just bought 2 Speedway Stuffers calzones. Like, let's advertise calzones to him. You know,
They probably do, right? Because you get if you
Stuffers
give
or Stofers?
Stuffers. No, they call them Stuffers with a Z. There's a Speedway by my work, and every once in a while I'll go and I'll be like, I'm so fucking hungry. I'm just gonna buy shitty fucking gas station food that's been sitting under like the lamp for like 45 minutes.
That's the best food.
And there on the fucking label it says Speedway Stuffers. And the
Stuffers?
first time I saw that, I said it audibly, and the cashier behind the counter was like, "Yeah, that sounds wicked gross." Like,
I just don't get when you like anybody who gives their credit card to Facebook and saves it on their profile.
that's
It's like,
such a bad idea.
how do you do that with how much like you've heard about how bad Facebook is security wise?
That's the
like,
same thing with PlayStation, with Sony.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Also, it's like, what do you need your credit card on Facebook for in the first place? How often do you like exchange money with Facebook?
Yeah.
yeah.
Unless you're a business of some sort trying to promote posts.
Yeah, Sony is weird because they're like
Sony's in a weird spot right now. They're having
they're
some
in a
struggles.
weird spot, and it seems like they're always the one that gets like hacked and shut down and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and they're also I don't know. I don't
Didn't
know
they
where I was
pull
going
out of
with that.
E3 or something like that?
They pulled out of E3, and they're
And they
also
did, like,
they're also shutting down Drive Club.
They're trying to do like what Nintendo does with that Nintendo Direct, where they just put out a video of like
Yeah.
all their upcoming stuff.
But the thing is
periodically.
that I think the casual audience doesn't give a fuck about Sony.
No kidding.
Like,
but the thing
I
is,
think
like,
the average person would know more about Nintendo than Sony.
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
to me, it's like why put out a bunch of trailers in one video when you can just put out all the trailers on YouTube and people can go watch the trailers they want to watch
Yeah.
instead of sitting through a 3-hour fucking YouTube video.
Because like what
It's not like E3 isn't going to be the same as it used to be because E3 used to be
the place.
like you used to just sit around for a whole weekend
Yeah.
and watch video games that were coming out.
we used to do
People
that at Brandon Trail like every year. We had
Yeah.
the E3 parties.
yeah.
Yeah.
That shit was nuts. I
Yeah.
still remember my first one. E306 live.
With
Oh,
like
06,
G4
wow,
and
throwback.
shit.
Yeah, it was when
Fucking
Resident Evil.
13 years ago.
It was when they gave that was when E3 did awards from every game that came out between the last one. Mm-hmm. And they gave Resident Evil 4 like every single award. And I was like, I need to get this game now. I was like 10 or 9. And I was like, yeah, I need Resident Evil 4. But
it was a pretty good game.
Yeah, you were just like a little pipsqueak back then.
Yeah, get out of here, pipsqueak. My dad chugs a beer, throws
There
it
was
at me.
zero boulder punching in Resident Evil 4, though.
Yeah.
So
That's true. There was no boulder punching at all.
Significantly less.
But
like, what did what's Capcom's model for physics? Like, why did they think that like punching a boulder was like convincing, or like it wasn't even like in a forgettable part of the game? It was the last fucking boss.
Yeah, it was. I was just actually talking to Wes about Capcom the other day. Wes and Zach, we were talking about it. And I think what Capcom did was when Resident Evil 4 sold so well, their immediate reaction was like, oh, they thought the game was funny.
Yeah.
And they tried to make Resident Evil 5 funnier. Because Resident Evil 4 was kind of silly. But then 5 was like wicked silly.
Yeah, just way
and
fucking
5
over the
sold
top.
way more than 4 did. So then they're like, let's
was a
make
comedy.
it
It was
way
a
too
comedy
much.
game.
Let's make it like Transformers.
Jesus.
And then 6 came out and people were like, this isn't funny. You guys were never funny.
Dude, capitalism is ruining games, though.
Yeah,
It really is.
I watched that video.
Yeah.
I think they're out of the ones you sent me, the one about the stochastic terrorism.
Yes.
Then there was one that was recommended, and that really freaked me out because, like, when I first started it, I was like, is Jake calling me a terrorist right now?
No.
And then I like read deeper into it, and I think it's crazy how, when you have websites like that,
like 4chan,
like 4chan or any other image board, or even like meme groups on Facebook or Reddit or whatever, and it's like it's hard to tell if they're joking or not, and it's
and that's the thing is like it doesn't matter if you can't tell if they're joking, like it desensitizes you to that information and makes it funny. It desensitizes you to like racist shit and makes it funny to you.
yeah.
You know, and when it's funny to you, it's easier to see that shit on the news and not be outraged about it, and not like, you know,
and
not
there's
do
also
something
less
about it.
restraint when you want to
Yeah, because it's completely anonymous on image boards. You can be
Yeah.
completely anonymous and be as shitty as
Yes.
you want, and someone's gonna read that who's already at the stage where it's like they're already racist.
Yeah, that's
And,
why
like-
you can't. That's why I scrolled through 4chan like a couple days ago, and I was like, this website is fucking cancer. Like,
Yeah.
how do people fucking do this?
Like talk the way they talk, and
Yes.
like
It's really.
I used to love it. I haven't been on in
It's,
Oh, yeah, no, I mean,
it's really fucking
a long
bad.
time,
Yeah.
and I used to go on at least once a day, check like just the 2 video game boards and on the sports board.
Yeah.
But now you can't even go on the sports one.
yep.
Even the sports one is fucked up because it's just all people like, because now certain boards have your fucking nationality on it, and it's just people fucking flinging shit at each other, and it's like, well, hey, at least we have free speech, and it's like, you do, but you're just being dicks.
You're using
with
it to be like
You're
as
using it to be a
shitty as possible,
douchebag, like-
and you also use it to protect like your wicked, shitty, desensitizing platform.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
because that used to be my favorite place, especially for like UFC and NFL games, because they would do live threads, and it was just like constantly, you know, new comments,
yeah.
conversation
But
and
the
stuff.
thing is,
and-
those are the people that have so many fucking like odd views of the world because that's all they're getting.
yeah.
Yeah,
But the
Like
more
Kenny.
it's platformed, the more it's the more present it is, the more people are gonna be like, yeah, you know, now that I think about it, like I do hate Jews. You know, like it's one of those things. It's
Yeah.
like it's the bottom rung of like leading up to a terrorist, but it definitely emboldens people who are already on the edge. You know,
Yeah.
It makes racists in a way that they don't realize they're being turned into racists.
yeah. And it gets weird because like you're like, well, Twitter shouldn't be silencing X, Y, and Z, but it's like they kind of should.
Yeah.
But the other thing
'Cause
too is
then
that
you're
if
gonna-
you're gonna silence somebody, if you're gonna silence, you know, a guy that's like, death to all blacks or death to all women, you gotta also silence the people that are on the opposite side.
That's
of
the
that.
thing, though, is like that's kind of like the whole ideology of
Like
like the
death to
right
all
wing
whites.
is like it's free speech when they're doing it. When the left does it, it's like shut up, cuck.
Yeah, but the left
You know,
is the
like-
same way though.
They're not though. Like, I mean, yes.
They
like,
are. They really
but
are,
The
though.
reason behind that is like for the right wing, it's like they can go somewhere else and talk like that. For the left wing, it's like this is someone who straight up wants me and people like me to die.
I guarantee you that if I had a Twitter account, right, and I had like 500,000 followers, I had 2 separate ones, and one of them I was like, Donald Trump is the best president of all time. Then the other one was Donald Trump is the worst president of all time. I would 100% guarantee you I'd get way more hateful shit on the one praising him.
Mm-hmm.
But
But Donald Trump is a hateful human being.
But that's your opinion. So
it's not just my opinion, though. It's it's kind of a fact. Like
I don't see it personally.
You don't see how he is?
I don't see how he's that much shittier than everybody else.
I mean, you don't see how Heather Heyer can get run over in Charlottesville and killed by a white nationalist. And Donald Trump to say, well, there were shitty people on both sides. Like, there was no right-winger killed in Charlottesville. I don't think that there's been a right-winger killed.
Somebody died. Stop the presses.
Yeah. But it was a neo-Nazi killing a leftist in Charlottesville. And he didn't even call for an end to the violence.
So where's the outrage when an Antifa member goes and beats up a civilian with a bike lock? Where's that controversy?
When did that happen?
That happened in Berkeley, California.
I mean, there is, but also like I think that neo-Nazis should get their ass beat. Like,
but what if it's not even it was literally
if it's a civilian? Then that's wrong.
And then you have people out there that are like, oh well, he was white. Oh, he had a Trump sticker on his car. Beat him up with the bike lock and shit. Like I'm not.
I think it escalates. I think it definitely escalates.
The thing
that's the thing, though, is there's bad people on both sides. Though. There's people that are going to do that either way.
Hold up. Let's not go too deep into there's bad people on both sides. Like, yes, there's bad people on both sides, but one of them is a bad side. Like,
that's not objective, though.
That is objective.
No,
like we're talking about people whose political framework is fascism, is Nazism.
Right, that's not the
wait. Are we talking? We're talking about the alt-right. Oh, this whole time I thought we were doing
the alt-right is as good as the entire right. Like at this point, because Trump. Trump's base is the alt-right.
Trump. Well, the thing is, Trump has made the people who are just sort of right go farther right. It's part of the problem.
Yeah.
So you get way more extremists, and because of that, also you get people who are a little left going way left.
Yeah.
So and even the people who are already way left going way
But I think that's the only response we can have at this point is going further left, because if you remain centrist, Congress will keep ratcheting policy right, and centrists in Congress, centrists who make the laws, who label themselves as Democrats, they're not going to let it go any further left. They're going to be like, okay, well, this is the new framework. Like, okay, minimum wage, isn't really moving with inflation. It's $15.
They're moving the bar.
It's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same or less that people were making, accounting for inflation 40 years ago.
Right.
They're not going to let it go any further back because there's no money in it for them.
Yeah. It's just I think what the real issue is that Trump is so polarizing that it's pushed both sides out as far as possible.
Just now, that is very polarizing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not trying to say you're wrong or whatever. I'm not. I'm looking at it.
I recognize you don't see it, and it's tough. It's tough to be immersed in all of that for so long and not see it. But
also it's there's two different legs of the news that you get now.
Yeah,
you have this fucking Fox News thing where everything that's against Trump is fake
and
news.
Shut down. Yeah,
and everyone who agrees with Trump immediately dismisses everything that's not reinforcing his side of the fucking argument.
You can look at stuff and recognize facts, but I think in order to truly get news, you have to do your own research and
no one does that.
Yeah,
they turn on CNN or they turn on Fox News, and then they only get their side, and it reinforces their opinion, and they don't think about anything critically.
And that's the thing is most of my political framework has basically been built on YouTube, which is tough. I know that completely destroys all all of my
So you're like a
arguments
flat
on
earther
the air.
and shit.
But the thing about it is like
the
a lot
earth
of these
flat?
people are actually
Space is
presenting
fake.
facts. You know, they're not presenting something that they were paid to say. They're presenting like facts.
Well, you also don't. That's the thing is, you also don't know what the facts are.
Yeah.
because now you don't
you
know
have
what
to like
source
look at
is
like
what.
you have to look at charts. You have to like understand everything. Like
And
most people don't have time to actually like
even if you-
get their own information.
Yes, and even if you read a journalist, they're gonna have a bias.
Yeah.
So it's like, where do you really get it? And like,
Yeah.
the problem is mainstream media is like, if you're watching TV, you're watching a TV station.
Yeah.
Guess what they're in it for? They're in it for ratings.
Yeah,
So what are they trying to do? They're trying to appease their fan base.
exactly.
So that's all it's gonna be. It's a TV show. It's almost like a fucking reality show. They're just trying to keep their audience.
Yeah.
So like, obviously they're gonna be super hyper focused on their fucking side of the political spectrum.
I think there's just too many people.
There's too many people.
Like-
There's also too many people that don't know anything about politics and go out and vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
That's like, but
Like-
that's the thing. Like, there's too many people living in abject poverty, and our system has already developed the means to provide for all of them.
Yeah.
I don't think that there's too many people. I just think that the system has so effectively stymied like the lifestyle and our ability to educate ourselves
the problem is,
that like there's like it's
But
just.
unemployment, Jake.
What about unemployment?
Unemployment's at an all-time low.
Allegedly,
the
yeah.
market.
But they're also tweaking the way that they measure unemployment.
Yes.
They're also being like, oh, well, the gig economy, they take that into consideration now. Like if you are like part-time employed and you're actually not making enough money to like survive, like they'll still count you as employed.
yeah, well, yeah.
When Port City Copy Center burned down, like I was unemployed, and even if I like when I did an article for Best Guitar Effects, like they counted that as employment. When I traveled to Nashville, I got paid $1,000 to cover that event, NAMM. And when I went down there, they counted like that $1,000 as employment, even though the $1,000 was basically there to pay for me to go down there.
Yeah,
so it's like
covering
gas,
your
food,
travel.
hotel,
yeah, like
stuff like
it
that.
de-incentivizes being employed.
Yeah.
Like if you lose your job, they actively de-incentivize employing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not like people like have enough, like it's not like you can lose your job and you're like, well, I guess it's time to like start my own business. Like you literally like you don't have
have no
enough
choice.
capital to be a capitalist,
Yeah.
I think the issue is we have like a fucking like an antiquated system, and people have learned how to exploit it. And I think Trump was a good example of that too. Like he did a great job of exploiting the entire system and figuring out how to become president.
That's why
he
he's
was
so
like,
great.
yeah, kind of, yes. Kind of. Like I have
I know you're fucking with me, but it's still infuriating.
the thing to me is like as much as I don't really like Trump, I'm like impressed with the way that he has managed to do this.
I'm impressed in the sense that I recognize it's fucking dangerous.
Yes.
I'm impressed with the same like
How-
caution that I would approach like a crocodile.
Yes. Like the fact that he was able to get into this position just by basically talking shit.
Well, that's the thing. Like the reason he was able to get into this position just by talking shit is because for like the
That's
last
the
6
way.
decades, like that's how Republicans
Yes.
were doing it in like a classy way.
Both. I
Yeah.
mean, really, it's been fucking just smear campaigns on both sides for
Yeah.
years.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, well, I'm going to fucking amp this up to 11, and I'm going to give everyone on the other side nicknames, and I'm going to
Well,
win this fucking thing. Like,
That's how you win.
It's
You
he's
gotta-
like,
literally
I'll just
you're-
come up with
if you
some
give
like
your
crooked
opponents
Hillary and
nicknames,
shit.
you got it in the bag.
Yeah.
It's a Discord server. That's all it is.
It is. Yeah.
But like the thing about it is like leftists don't do that. Like in general, like we recognize like an injustice and we say what it is, and like we throw a lot of insults around. But like established like actual Democrats, like Obama, like Michelle Obama was like, they go low, we go high. where like Republicans don't
I had to
think
charge
that
my
way
Juul.
at all. Like,
Xbox is always the USB's always on.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
like you can call someone something that they actually are. You can call a Republican a fascist piece of shit, and if they're a fascist piece of shit, they'll deny it outright. But like if you like, for example, like Obama,
Well, what if you
like
aren't one?
Well, then, like, you aren't one. Like, you can recognize who is and isn't a fascist, you know, just by knowing what fascism is.
Yeah. I think you also, like, it gives it away when you have, like, a Nazi tattoo or something.
It's a pretty strong indicator, yeah.
Yeah. It's a dead giveaway, I think.
I was going to show you guys my new tattoo at the break, but I guess
right
I'll
on
save that.
Yeah, probably.
I'll save that for
Probably
when
hold off.
I'll save that for when Kenny comes back.
Yeah. I got it on the gooch. It's right under the...
Oh, my God.
It
gotta
looks like
lift my
like the
balls.
judge from the wall.
Yeah.
Oh,
So only the people that
no.
lift my balls can know my true beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. No, I think the thing that bugs me the most is that I hate seeing people that I like love and respect that I know work hard and
Yeah.
try really hard, and it's like they don't get anywhere.
Mhm.
And I think that's a big problem with depression for people our age and younger.
Yeah.
Is that we all basically grew up watching our families work as hard as they did and sacrifice as hard as they did, and
For essentially nothing.
basically
a
just to keep
bad
your,
deal.
just to keep your head above water.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's like the thing is like the platform that the right has built is basically the platform of like it's this kind of person's fault as
Yeah.
opposed to like the left where it's like it's the fucking billionaires, like they turn you into mincemeat and then they tell you it's a black person's fault or it's a poor person's fault.
I immediately stop listening to people when they go, dude, Reagan's trickle-down economics was the best thing that's ever happened in this country.
And if you can recognize that, then like that's
people say,
like,
as soon as people are like, dude, Reagan's economic plan changed the game. Yeah, it shut off the system.
It destroyed us.
Fucking unplugged the HDMI cord.
Yeah. Definitely changed it.
yeah. But like honestly, there was never any real like. There's never been a good president. Like not really. Like not
No.
even FDR.
I was just
not
gonna-
even
yeah,
FDR.
yeah,
he
fucking-
shut down. He had
he had-
4 terms.
He had polio.
It's because
I don't
there's-
think that has anything to do with it. But
Well, he probably couldn't win.
it's because I mean,
If
like,
I could beat the
he
president
was
in a
biologically not good.
if I could beat the president in a foot race, he's not a good president.
It's because the
that's
job.
true. I mean, that's how
I feel like that should be fair.
that's how George Washington beat John
Like,
Adams.
remember when we were
he won the election in a foot
they
race.
raced outside Fitzhugh on that
fucking one of those
stretch?
It's
potato-
literally a race.
the
It's a
potato
presidential
sack
race.
races.
No, I was gonna say, remember when we had to do those presidential fitness tests? Like, they should make the president do those.
Yeah,
like,
they should make him hop in,
chin-ups
in
and
one of
shit.
those potato sacks with
Yeah.
a with
Yeah.
a egg on a spoon.
That's how you get people who are really bad at running a country, but really good at running.
Well, the problem is that the president, like
Usain Bolt, 24 more years.
Yeah.
the president's job is not
To
possible. Essentially,
No, it's not. You cannot have. That was the thing I was going with too many people. You cannot have over 300 million people, if not more,
Yeah.
represented by one person.
No.
That's
Impossible.
always on
That's-
TV.
yeah, that's the
like
thing.
you could have like the. Is Mr. Rogers the most objectively genuine person of all time?
I'd say so. Yeah.
You could have Mr. Rogers.
At
be
least the most objectively like
good.
great person of all time who's been on television.
You could have Mr. Rogers be president of America and still convince people that he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I don't think
I
so.
know. I think you could. No, because
I
the
think
way that the media works, I'm talking.
I think the right would probably convince you that he's a piece of shit. Because
Probably.
I think
Unless
if you know Mr. Rogers, he was like
He was-
he never associated with any side, but he
No.
probably was a leftist.
unless
Yeah.
unless he goes and runs as a fucking Republican, and then the left tries to out him as a fucking rapist. And fucking come with-
Jesus.
they'll just be like, "Yeah, he raped me." They would just say that, and then everyone would believe it. Because that's
But
how it works.
I was
now.
basically getting at like you can't have an entire country that's basically made up of like 50 smaller countries plus Puerto Rico and Guam and
Yeah.
the Virgin Islands, so like 55 smaller countries.
Yeah.
You know, it's
You
just
can't
weird that you have a
have all of
federal
them under
law
one
and then you
person.
also have state law, and like it's like you walk 5 inches and then the laws are different.
I think
like
it's-
what is going on?
I
here?
think
Yeah.
it's funny when I
That's
talk
actually
to,
a Republican platform, though, is states' rights to change the laws, because that's how they basically have kept
to have
like
laws by state.
equal marriage and civil rights. That's how they basically kept it. That was a Barry Goldwater thing, actually. Like Barry Goldwater was the first. I wouldn't say the first person to be like, the issue, like gay marriage should be like a state's decision,
Well, it's like-
but he was definitely the first one who was like heavily platformed.
It's just weird to me. But that even happens with countries. It's like you could step over a border and things are completely different.
Yeah,
the
like
rules
with
are
the
totally
EU.
changed. Yeah.
The
yeah.
EU's actually crazy because it's like you can
Yeah, I
take a
was gonna-
train
I
to
was gonna
France.
Ask you about that.
What's that?
About-
Brexit? I think it's a bad idea.
Brexit, but also
definitely
It's
bad
a
idea.
wicked bad idea.
Brexit, but also I have you ever spoken to somebody that is like a diehard? I don't want to say patriot. I want to say nationalist for America.
For America?
But that is also like the EU is so stupid, but America's great because we're all together. But
Yeah.
the EU is
The EU is
so-
essentially a confederacy, but I think it's also like a really good idea, and it's like
I don't like having the headphones on like that anymore.
yeah, it does sound weird, doesn't it? It's like an echo.
Well, I had them off for like 15 minutes and I put them back on, and now I'm strange.
Yeah.
But I was just gonna say, because like the way I look at America, it's like when you look at the states, not the middle is. I mean, they have a couple million a state, but like New York or Texas or California, like they're bigger than certain countries,
Yeah.
and you're trying to have all those people under the same, you know.
It's
Yeah.
just to
Under the
me
same
that
guy's
whole
umbrella, it's
concept
just
is
very
odd.
silly.
The fact that you can go to jail for having weed and then because you're 5 feet this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, you. I don't know if you guys remember. You probably would, because this is a thing I was really upset about a while ago. There was a guy that was prescribed medical marijuana in California, and he was driving through Arizona, and he had a taillight out, and he got pulled over, and they smelled weed in his car, and even though it was prescription, they fucking booked him and arrested him, and he got like 3 or 4 years in prison. Wow. But that's his medicine in California, but in Arizona, it's like a controlled substance.
Yep.
That's the weird. That was
Yeah.
when I was like, state laws are kind of weird.
It
And also,
doesn't-
how
it's very
Arizona
strange.
didn't celebrate like Martin Luther King Day till recently. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was
Wait, what?
you didn't know about that?
I didn't know that they
They were like the last state to acknowledge like Martin Luther King Day. Probably not recently, but definitely more recent than. I'm pretty sure it was either Arizona or New
I
Mexico.
didn't know that. No, that's fucking wild
That's
to
why
me.
I'm not a fan of Arizona.
Yeah.
Fuck the Cardinals.
Fuck the Cardinals.
Fuck the Diamondbacks. Fuck all Arizona.
But yeah, no,
sports.
I mean, I think it's possible to represent that many people. I think that's why we have like so many different branches of the government. You know, if it boiled down to like, oh, you know, it's not really possible to like govern that many people effectively, I think we probably would be significantly more fucked than we are, which is saying a lot. But
it's the thing is, it's very difficult to govern this many people, but it's also very difficult to change the infrastructure of what we have.
yeah, and
Okay.
also like the framework that most people operate under.
So it was 1993.
1993.
Over 20 years after the rest of the country was like, yeah, Martin Luther King Day is a cool idea.
Yeah.
It's over 20 years later.
Who was it? Was it Arizona?
It was Arizona.
Oh man, that's not good. I used to like the idea of living in Arizona. Now I definitely don't.
You got decent weather. I mean,
It's a
there's
dry
plus, I guess.
heat.
It is, but
Isn't it?
yeah,
It's
it
a
is.
desert, so
It's definitely
Yeah, it's got to be dry.
yeah,
it's definitely not tropical.
It's not tropical weather for sure. But no, I mean like like walking back to like the thing that I said before about how like there's never been a good president. Like if you're operating under the framework of capitalism, every single one was fantastic. But like if you think in terms of like what was probably best for all of the people, there definitely has never been a good president.
right.
No.
Like you know, like I said, FDR, like FDR's New Deal was actually kind of bullshit. Like it kept in a way, like it kept capitalism going for like a long time during the Great Depression, because he basically neutralized socialist leaders by hiring them and bringing them under his umbrella.
Yeah.
Why?
Union leaders.
Well, let's take a break because
Okay.
we're like over an hour, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
It's pretty solid so far.
Yeah.
It
that's
goes
a
by
really good
fast when you
podcast.
talk about Trump and you yell at each other.
For sure.
Oh my God.
For sure.
That was funny though.
ClearShotsPodcast.com is where you'll find links to everything we do. You can check us out on Twitter at ClearShotsPod. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and check us out on Periscope for live videos. If you have anything you want to ask us, send us an email at clearshotspodcast@gmail.com. Thank you for listening. We will see you next time.